Hi guys, welcome to Loyal Nerd Crafts. I'm Sabrina and today I got a great project. You can see here I am taking some mini stars that you can do for nail art and I'm placing them in a half sphere mold for resin. I like to use the clear ones, and with a shiny surface I make sure it's very clear so it gives the balls a nice shiny surface to work with. Placing those little stars can be a little difficult, but you know, it takes a while. There's a lot of Dragon Balls. And we're finally getting into the glass portion. I got the glass for my frame from the Dollar Tree, so it's very inexpensive. And here I'm just tracing the image. The image came from the internet, which you can just look up any Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball picture. I usually use the coloring book pages, which there are a lot that's free for download or just free in general for any anime, which I love to use. I've done several for just mostly for my boyfriend or me or my kids to hang in the room when they couldn't find the ones they want. This one is for my boyfriend and he absolutely loves Dragon Ball. Tracing out, I don't really go for a lot of the smaller detail. I just go for the larger main ones because when you're painting acrylics on this, it can bleed over quite large. Plus I wanted the Dragon Balls coming out of the frame, which you'll see more later. This one, he really liked this picture specifically, and I'm just tracing it out. As you can see, he does take some time, but I think the picture's well worth it in the end. You just gotta make sure when you're doing this that you don't rub your hand over what you've already done, because you'll just erase it, because it is on a slick surface. You can take a piece of light sandpaper and scratch where you're going to do it, and it would make it stick a lot better, but then you risk having a frosted look. If that's something you're going for, then that'd be perfectly fine. I know there's a lot he likes, mostly like Vegeta, but he really wanted a Shenron and the Dragon Balls, so that's what I tried to get for him, so he can have it on his wall in his gaming room. So I think he's really going to like this in the end, and I know he's excited to see it. I told him a little bit about it, but he don't know a lot. As you can see, I went oops, of course, because I had just flipped the paper over and printed out something on the back, so I was like, oh no, I can't have that. I need to see the lines. Here I'm just straightening them up with a ruler to make sure they're nice and straight and giving it a more dark so I can give it a pretty border with some metallic looking paint later that would shine through. Just be patient and take your time and it'll all pan out. It's the same as getting a coloring book out of the store and not wanting to actually color in it, but taking a piece of tracing paper, which is what I used to do when I was little. I'd take tracing paper and put over the pages I like, and then I'd color it that way and draw it out that way. It's a great project for kids and teenagers that really like anime and certain things that you really can't find a lot of coloring books in the US. So looking it up on the internet, you can find a lot of free coloring book pages and just print them out and let your kids go to town, which is what I did a lot for my kids, and when they were really tiny. But then when they got older, they started doing it themselves, and now it's a little bit more available than when they were young. And there's so many more painting, drawings, and everything out there for you to, download. And here I'm just taking my time, and I'm doing the higher details first, and leaving the majority of the color for last. You really want to make sure those details, you get those first. Like the stripe that's on Shinron's back, the red stripe. If you don't get that first, you're never going to be able to put it in later. It'd be really, really hard. And I'm going with the brightest color first. And as it progresses, I'm going to go to the darker one. And if I was a little bit smarter, I would have took some painter's tape and went around the border. But I was too afraid that it would actually just take off the Sharpie that I was using to draw it on there. Which everything I got was really cheap from mostly the dollar store or the Dollar Tree. Except for the resin, the UV resin, which you can get online for a small bottle, which what I used didn't take a lot. And the molds are fairly cheap too. I order most of my molds on Amazon or on Wish. Wish takes a little bit longer to get here, but if you don't plan on doing the project anytime soon, then Wish is pretty cheap. But I do like ordering the molds from Amazon or Wish to get them, because most craft stores don't have really the molds you want. Now, as you can see, I'm taking a little bit darker color and going in and hitting it so it can give a little bit more depth to it, because I don't want it just the bright red. I want a little bit of, atmosphere shadow. So I'll do a little bit darker red and just highlight it, as you can see here. That way it gives him more of a look to him. Because if you just use one flat color, it usually don't look that good. If you can find the colored in version of the coloring book page that you get on the internet, then especially for kids, you can lay down the colored version so they know what to paint on the other one, which is good practice skills for them, and hand-eye coordination, just painting and drawing it out. Plus it's something they would like, so they'd really get into it a little bit more. I specifically love painting, so coloring book pages are great, but doing it like this, I can actually really put a little bit more feeling into it. I just enjoy the painting more. And of course, I take forever mixing my paints. I just got a spare piece of acrylic there that I'm using to color it in, and I'm doing the darker first, of course, before I do the lighter green. And you want to kind of put it on thick, because if you put it on too thin, it'll be see-through. And anywhere really a shadow would hit is where I'm hitting it. Sorry for the speed, but if I didn't, this video would be way too long. And when it comes to this, there's no right or wrong to it. It's all on your perspective, how you want to do it. Because honestly, in painting, you can't do wrong. It's all how you see it, how you want it to see. One person could look at it and go, oh, I would have done this a different color, but honestly, as long as you like it, that's all that really matters when it comes to this. And yeah, you can see I'm going over the details, but you really don't worry about the back as much, because once you go over the details, when you flip the glass over, you're actually going to see it. The details are still there, as long as you don't take the paintbrush and smear everything too much. As you can see, I let this dry quite a bit before I actually start painting on it, or it would just smear everywhere. And then after this takes a little while, it'll take a little while to dry. I'm going to go ahead and hit up some of the white on his teeth and on his back. And the cream is for his underbelly. I tried to stick to the original colors of Shinron and not vary too much, but you could easily take this and turn it into several other dragons, as long as you change the horns, because these are specifically Shinron's horns. I'm pretty sure you could use it as another dragon if you really wanted to. If you find this one as a free download, or any of the coloring book pages, you could use it as something else, but I really looked at this and I could just see Shinron, so that's what I wanted to go for. And I'm hitting up a little bit of the darker spots and the lighter spots on his underbelly, and then I'll make it a little darker when I go to fill in the rest. And as you can see, I didn't fill in all the green yet, because you can see some of it is dry where it's not shiny, but where it's shiny it's still pretty damp, and I don't want to go over that, because then I'm just going to smear what I did. Now, if you want a good blend, you can, but as in the anime, I specifically wanted the colors to be very vibrantly different, so I tried to stick to the old Dragon Ball Z, where the colors weren't as digital, because most everything's digital now. But when it's all hand drawn, that's what I really love, is that detail. And you can see it looks really bright on the back, because that's the color I wanted on the back of it, to shine through. But I'd already put the dark on and let it dry. Now I'm going over with a little bit darker over his belly, so that would really shine through. I really hope to do a lot more of these in the future, and I'm going to try to at least post one video a week. Try to right now. But when I work and do this, I can only do it some of the time, so I'm going to really try to get out at least once a week. And if you're willing to like, subscribe, follow, I'd really appreciate this, because without you, I couldn't do this, and this is what I really want to do. I want to bring crafts. Nerdy, regular, it don't matter. I just want to bring crafts to you. But I'm a big nerd. I always have been, and I hope to bring in a lot of nerdy crafts to you, and hopefully show you that anyone can do this. You do not have to be a perfect artist to do this. A lot of people will pick up coloring book pages and they can't draw from nothing, but they can pick up a coloring book and trace the page on a piece of glass. Or if you don't want to have glass for your kids, you can get a piece of acrylic, which I have done it before. I've done a larger version of this with bigger Dragon Balls for him in his room, and he wanted a smaller one for the opposite side of his room. So I'm doing this a lot smaller, but you can do this quite large and make a big poster for a kid's room, something that they can take down if, you know, they change later on, they don't like this one anymore, they like another one. You can always take it down and, you know, put another one up. The only upside to using glass is if you decide you don't like this one anymore, you can take a paint scraper and you can just clean the acrylic right off the glass and then do another one, another project. The only downside to doing the Dragon Balls on the opposite side, which you're going to find out, is once you put them in place, they're not moving. They're going to stay in place. Now I'm just going over with the dark color. And what this does is if I flip it over and you can see through the paint at any point, it's not going to look good. So you really want to cover it up with something dark. And at the very end of this project, when I get done painting everything that I want it painted, I will coat the whole thing black. That way there's no light coming through. I want to make absolutely sure there's no light coming through. There's a few different ways you can do this, and I'm hoping to make some more videos to show you exactly how I do a little tips and tricks on different ways that you can do this. This is the more 3D one, and I know a lot of people haven't done this, so having the Dragon Balls on the other side is a one-of-a-kind trick. I think, I mean, there could be somebody out there that's already tried this, but for right now, I think I'm the only one that's tried this, so I really hope everybody likes it. I hope a few people out there try it. If you like it, and you want to see more, please comment below. I'd love to hear from you. Let me know how you enjoy this, and if you like this one, you want to see more Dragon Ball, if you'd like to see any other animes, I'm more than happy to do them, and I hope to make more in the future. And we'll just get back to this with, I'm hitting up the white again. I could have took a little bit of gray and put on the side of each one, but you know, I just thought I'd go ahead and just make them white, make it a little bit brighter because of what I'm going to do on the background, which is what you're going to see here in a little bit as soon as I get through painting it in. I'm sorry if you hear my air conditioner in the background. My laptop currently is right next to it, so there's a little bit of a noise in the back. I'm sorry about that. And I'm hoping I come through okay. This is the first time I've tried a voiceover. I'm still getting used to how to make videos, and I promise you I will get better with time. If you like the voiceover more than you like the music playing, or if you like the music playing more, please let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. And if you try this yourself or anything like this, oh, please send me a picture. I'd love to see your projects. And if you tried this and you enjoyed it, I just want to inspire people to make their art with their own hands, something they can be really proud of, but easy enough that anyone can do it. And I'm going to go from cheap to more expensive. This one's actually pretty cheap. Like I said, you can get a frame about anywhere. I got this in, I think, from the Dollar Tree. Yeah, it was about $1. And the paints you can get from Walmart, you're just normal acrylic, washable paints you can get for $1. or less from the dollar store or from Walmart or anywhere. I think even the Dollar Tree sells paints now. So you can get acrylic paints pretty much anywhere, and they clean up with water, so it's great. You don't have to worry about, getting on something and you not being able to wash it off. Now my next step is Shinron. It's mostly all bright green. So now I'm going to take my bright green and I'm just going to go through all over every bit of him. And yes, some parts of him are going to completely disappear and you're going to be, oh no, you're covering him all up, but it's okay. He will be back. He will get summoned again. And of course, now that I'm looking back, I can go, well, I could have done a little bit of yellow in him, but, it's a learning process like everything else, and you learn as you go. So, and I won't say I'm perfect in art, but I'd say I'm still learning, and as long as I am, I haven't wasted my day. Now I'm just taking him and I'm doing a nice bright like orange gold and going around the border to make it nice and bright. Now I'm adding my black. I like to give it a nice solid backdrop around where the glass is. Also, if you got a nice thick frame, you can take the edge and you can just trim it with painter's tape, which will help it keep it from cracking if you're moving it around a lot. But luckily, I got this Lazy Susan tray, which is great for spinning the canvas around. And you can see I'm putting this on really, really thick. That way it'll shine through, because if you don't, it's not going to. It'll be completely see-through and you'll lose half the effect. And I'm just trying to dab it on there nice and thick. That way it's got a very, very thick edging. And here is some glaze is what they call it, but it's a glitter and it shines different colors. And I thought that'd be really nice to make him kind of look like he's coming out of the clouds. Because of course when you summon Shinron, he comes out of the sky, and so I really wanted to give his, where he's shining and he's coming out, I want to give that, you can see where right here where it's shining different colors, and I'm just coating it again, making sure that glaze is nice and thick. It's still going to be see-through, but after I add the backing on it, you won't be able to see through it. And then after I coat it with that, I take a white pearl and then I will coat it with a white pearl. And now I'm taking gold and I'm putting over this border just to be on the safe side that nothing will be see-through. Excuse me, I got a little bit of a cough. But now that it's dry, I'm coating the whole thing black. I mean, I am really coating it. You can see the pearl over top of the glitter, which gives it a really nice effect. Gives the glitter something, the light something to bounce off of, which is really pretty. I don't know if the camera will pick it up or not, but I think it really gives a good effect. And then after this sets and dries, we can see, here we go. And this is the reveal for the painting part. And there we go. See how it's nice and shiny through the back? I think that really gave him a nice effect. You can see where it's like rippling. I really like the effect of that. And now I'm just measuring the Dragon Balls and just drawing little circles to show where I want them coming out at, to make them look like they're coming out of the painting. And in order to do that, I gotta paint a little bit. I'm not painting the stars or anything specifically, but I am taking gold and painting in the balls where I want them to come out at. And I'll give it at least 2 coats of paint, sometimes 3, depending on, the color. This gold from Walmart, it's kind of thin, so I'll give it more than 1 coat just to make sure that, it's really nice. And then I'm going to take some black paint, and I'm just going to, because the line looks a little wonky here, and I'm just taking the black and just going over the border. Now, you might think, okay, well, this is on the other side of the glass. This is going to rub off. No, this won't, because what I'm going to do is after I get done with the whole thing, after the balls are placed and everything, then I'm going to take it outside and I'm going to give it a nice clear coat, at least 2 clear coats of sealer. That way it helps the Dragon Balls stay in place, and if any dirt or anything gets on it, it's easy to wipe off. Because the Dragon Balls are not going to want to stick on there. If you use acrylic, you can't use resin on it because resin heats up and it'll actually warp the acrylic. And super glue gives a really weird white ring around it. I learned this trial and error from the big one I did and had to do a lot of cleanup. So paint worked really good here. Just wet paint, just letting it hold on there. And once the paint dried, being they're so little and so light, all I had to do was take it outside, and there we go. And thanks, guys. Like, subscribe, follow. Thank you, because without you, I can't do this.